We'll go ahead and get going. Thank you so much for joining. Will you introduce yourself, please? And just so you know, also, we have people joining that are a lot of impacted families watch these, and then we have supporters and just people coming in. So a lot of familiar people that are familiar with this, but then there will be people who are not. So
Hi, thank you. I'm out of Seattle, Washington, and my name is Elaine Simons, and I am the foster mother of Jesse Sarey.
thank you. And thank you so much for being here. So we'll just start, I like to start these off with talking about who the person was. You know, we are the ones um, who knew them before this. And for anybody watching that is not familiar with me yet, my name is Marissa Barrera, and I lost my brother in 2017. He was murdered by police. So I'm an impacted family as well, and we are talking to other impacted families and sharing our stories. So I like to really share who that person was. You know, everybody has their special things about them, or the relationships with people, and a lot of people are impacted after they are killed in this manner. So just you could share a little bit about Jesse, maybe when he's younger, or whatever it is that comes to mind that you want to share with us.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for using your voice and your passion and loss to bring opportunities for impacted families to get our stories out there, because a lot of our stories were not maybe publicized in the media. And so it's really important. Just for clarification, there are some family members that have been invited. So if they join us live, I will be stopping and introducing guests as they come. So I just want to let you guys know, but because we all live someplace else. So thank you. Thank you very much for allowing this opportunity.
Of course, of course.
So Jesse, what can I say? He came to live with me when he was about 11 years old. And I was already had his younger brother, Terrell, was living with me. So I learned about the Sarey family, and there were 3 children that were in the foster care system, and I had decided I would take all 3. And so I moved out of a 2-bedroom apartment into a 3-bedroom home, so that I would be able to have them move in with me. And Terrell was the first to move in with me. So Terrell was 9 years old. And then probably about a year or so later, Jesse joined us. And so it was cute. I mean, I hope that the cousins and some of the family members come on. But one of my earliest, fondest memories of Jesse and Terrell was they were typical boys that liked to kind of horseplay, and they were really into WWE and wrestling. And here is this woman that has usually taken female foster children. So I switched over to boys, and it was an opportunity came up to be able to take them to go see WWE live. So I got them the mask, and I got them the goat belt. And if you later on, you'll see pictures of Jesse, but Jesse was kind of a short, thick young man. And I took them, and I was so like, oh my God, am I really in this big arena with all these people yelling and screaming? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And the kids were having so much fun. The boys were just totally into it. So when we got home, they ended up going into their there was 2 bedrooms, and they went into one of the back bedrooms. And I'm just sitting there relaxing, and just finally just like, I got my whiskey and I'm chilling. And all of a sudden I hear this bang, and I go running down, and the futon frame they were wrestling broke and went down to the ground. And both the boys were sitting there like, I'm like, what happened? They're like, nothing.
I do it.
Yeah, nothing happened. They're frames on the floor. So yeah, Jesse, gosh, what can I tell you about him? He is a pretty remarkable young man, who has over 26 cousins, and he had one younger brother and two older brothers and his mother. And he was really into breakdancing. He loved to, he had this silly laugh about him. So every time he would laugh, it was just this kind of funny little laugh. And it was a very interesting time in my life. The older brother ended up going home, so he never ended up living with me. And along the journey, Jesse and Terrell, it became apparent that it wasn't going to work out having them both in the home at that same time with me. And so Jesse went into a different living situation. However, we continue the friendship and the relationship up to Jesse's death, which was on May 31st, 2019. I don't know where you went. Oh,
I'm here. Okay, we have Kenysha.
oh, good.
Okay, we have Kenysha. I'm gonna actually let her in. It just popped up on me, and you could go ahead and introduce her when she comes in. Thank
Okay.
you.
So like I said before, cousins and family are going to be joining us sporadically. So right now is coming the cousin of Jesse, and I'll let her know, you know, where we're at, but I'll introduce her when she comes on. But so when Jesse moved out, we continue a friendship, and his brother Terrell actually lived with me for 9 years and aged out of my home. So it wasn't like, you know, I wasn't part of the family. We had actually, Terrell and I had our 16th anniversary yesterday, from the day that he moved in with me. So we've got about 16 years of history of myself being part of this blended family. But like Kenysha and all them have their entire life.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Hi, Kenysha. I want to see if we can hear you and if you can hear us good.
Sorry, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining. So we are live right now, and we're streaming from Facebook. So right now, so far, we were just sharing a little bit about Jesse. Elaine got the chance to introduce how she became close to the family, and a little bit about Jesse. So if you don't, so you're his cousin, and thank you so much for being here. I'm very sorry for your loss and your family and everything you guys have had to deal with. And so with these, I wanted to start this off just sharing about Jesse. So if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself and then share a little bit about Jesse and just things about him.
Hi everyone. My name is Kenysha Sarey. I am one of Jesse's older cousins by a year. Sorry, I'm a little shy.
Okay.
I don't really know what to say.
Kenysha, you should turn on your video. You're such a beautiful young lady.
Oh no, not today. I just got off of work.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Yeah, and just so you know too, I shared in the beginning of this that other people watching and other guests, former and future, are also impacted families. So just know that this group, like who will be viewing, are a lot of people who have lived through this too and understand. So so he was your little cousin. And then so Elaine shared that he was a big WWE fan, the wrestling stuff. I relate to that personally. But yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I don't know if anything comes up, or if you want to pop in at any time, that's totally fine too.
So Kenysha, do you have like a funny story or anything that you would like to share out about Jesse to give the audience an idea?
I have a lot of stories actually, but I don't want to get into too much detail. I just want to state that he's very goofy in a very sometimes annoying way, but he's just very goofy and really funny.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? That's what I hear. I at this point now I know a lot of impacted families, and the ones that I've talked to, a lot of them share that about their loved ones. Just, they were really like a goofy person, or the life of the party kind of the comedian. And, I just want to remind people watching how much these individuals meant to people that, were in their life and cared about them. These are people that had families and lots of memories, and they should be here.
Yeah. Like I said, the Sarey family was a big family. And so my fondest memories of all the family was going over to the grandma and grandpa's home, to Auntie's home, and all the cousins would be there. And when I first entered into the family, I was kind of like, they were like the little kids, like, they're not little kids anymore, but like Mary was like this little girl, like one of the cousins who would peek around the corner at me, like, who is this lady? And one day I was driving over with Terrell, and I said to Terrell, Terrell, I've been coming over here doing family visits for 3 years, and you guys are all eating this food that smells wonderful, and nobody ever has offered me anything to eat. And so that day was it. They brought the dish of food, papaya salad and pancit and a lot of the traditional Cambodian food. And grandma, I could see her kind of like looking at me, because when I took my first bite of the papaya salad, my eyes just started watering. It was the most spiciest salad I've ever had. And I ate it all, and I asked for seconds. And that was it. Grandma, after that, she loved me. Is that correct, Kenysha, about how much always when you walk into your auntie's house, there was always food cooking? And
Yeah, we don't like when we cook big meals like that. We don't usually just be like, come eat. There's too much of us to say, come eat to. So we just kind of just have a whole spread, and it's like, self-serve, and we consider you as family already. So we're just like, why isn't she eating yet?
Oh, well, that's, thank you guys for sharing those. I thank you, Elaine, for that's cool. It's a different story. I haven't spoken to a family member who with this type of situation. So it's cool to hear, and that you're here around and speaking and sharing Jesse's story. That's how I first learned of it. For people watching, is I traveled to Seattle earlier this year for the anniversary of Charlene Lyles, and that's where I met Elaine and a lot of other people too. So there are a lot of us out there. And
yeah, that was really very special. When Katrina invited me, that was the first time that I actually felt like that I was part of this impacted family and this community, because we all kind of feel like sometimes we're alone in this struggle and this fight, and sometimes it is a fight. We're dealing with a really horrible situation and trying to understand it. I mean, when Kenysha and I and all the cousins gathered on June 1st, 2019, after Jesse was murdered, it was like we were all out in the parking lot area below the house, and we were just like, what do we do? How do we even begin to approach something as tragic as this?
Mhm.
yeah, and thank you for pointing that out. That is absolutely the truth. When you shared that, I pictured what you were sharing, and then I also remember what my family, how we were, sitting together, like, what the hell, like what? It's really horrible to have to go through. And so I do want to, the Force Trajectory Project, they're the ones that I went out there with those guys and the families are the front line on that with a couple others. So that's shout out to them helping, get families together. It's always, I think it's very important. And that's basically, it's almost been for 4 years for my family. And I've found through all of this, we need that. We need that. We're all like, our loved ones are victims and, we're survivors going through this. We've been deeply impacted. So I do want to let you guys know that we do have people leaving comments, and we have 17 people on right now. So hello, everybody watching.
Hi.
And then this recording will later, I will upload it to YouTube, and I will have the link available tomorrow. So we got some hellos, other family members. Thank you guys, everybody who's joined. So if you guys get questions along the way for the family, feel free. If you guys have comments, we might not see them right away, but I will look at them. We will go back to them. So let's go ahead and share, Jesse's, what's going on with his case is really, to me, I'll be honest, it's so rare. I don't see officers being charged. And, I get to a point sometimes where I've seen so many not being charged that it's almost hard to even see that it's going to change after so many bodies have dropped. But I am, very happy. It's always, a lot of us say a win for one family is a win for everybody.
And you know what's really interesting, Marissa, is I just wrote an op-ed also with NISA through their program. And did you see what my title and your title is? And I didn't know you wrote one. Both our titles had the word silence in it.
Yeah.
That was impactful. So when I read yours and I saw, and then mine came out 2 days ago, I was like, that is what is really weird about this whole thing, is how silent it is. It's as if people just want to say, well, it's done, move on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's absolutely how it's been. They want to sweep them under the rug. And then, some of these killings happen. And then there's people that, we won't just be silent. Hey, we have someone else about to enter. Mary Singh, is that how I say it?
Yeah, another cousin.
Okay, we're going to let her in right now.
Thank you, everyone, for being patient. We're all over the place. Washington State is under siege. We are quarantined right now. So,
oh, wow. Yeah.
Hi, Mary.
Oh, it's working.
Hi, Mary.
Hi,
I want to introduce Mary Singh. She's the baby cousin. Earlier in the story, when I told you, when I first started going to the Sarey's house, she was this little girl that would just kind of peek at me around the corner. And Kenysha Sarey is also a cousin. Mary, I'm going to let Marissa introduce herself so you know who she is. And we're just talking about Jesse right now.
Yes, so Mary, we are live right now. It's broadcasting on Facebook, and then this recording will go on YouTube. You're fine. And so right now, we are talking about Jesse, just sharing a few things about him, and then we are gonna start kind of getting more into, the story of what happened to him. So before we get there, good timing. Is there anything you would like to share about Jesse, or just any of your feelings with what you've been going through in your family?
I mean, it was so unexpected. It was crazy because growing up, he called me his baby, like his little baby cousin. So he was always by my side, and he'd always try to help me, even with my math homework, which
fighting
I had no
me to
idea how
carry
to do.
you.
He would help me with my math homework. Well, he'd try really hard, but he just wasn't getting it either. And I was like, it's okay, I got it. I'll just go to a teacher.
Oh.
And we just hang out all the time. He used to try to teach me how to break dance. That was like one of his passions back then. We used to just watch movies all the time together, watch wrestling. Like, it's just always a good time with him.
Aw. Thank you for sharing that. And these are okay, mine was freezing up. I really love that you came on and shared that, because these are the details that people hear of our loved ones being killed. These are the details that nobody knows, that these people, they were a real person. And I think that's awesome that those are the memories that you have of him. And yeah, it's really people need to remember, like the people that are being killed they're human beings. You know, he deserved to be treated with compassion, and especially by an officer. You know, people need to know this and hear from the families. So thank you so much for coming on. Okay, my are you guys, mine was acting funny over here. I don't know if you guys are seeing that as well.
It's okay. I
Someone's
think you
calling.
just froze while Mary was speaking. But Mary and Kenysha, anytime she asks a question, just jump in. We're just here to talk a little. I could talk a little bit about where the case is at now, but I can't give too much detail.
Okay, yeah, so for the people watching, people that may not be
Yeah.
familiar with what happened to Jesse, whoever, if you guys just kind of want to share what happened, and I also want you guys to share how you guys found out about it, and you know, about the narrative. Just go ahead and take it away.
Does anybody want to start, or do you want me to?
I just remember our cousin Vesna just calling a family meeting in the middle of the night. Then that's what Elaine was saying when we all showed up at our grandma's house, and everyone just sat there in disbelief. No one said a word to each other until, like, I don't know. It still takes a long time to sink in. But yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
Thank you.
No, I'm exactly. When the first I heard about it was over the weekend. Whenever we see anything on the news of police related killings or any kind of killing in Washington, because there's a lot of killings in Washington, I kept thinking, oh my God, it's probably a student of mine because I'm a teacher. Maybe it's someone I know. And so when I got the call from Terrell, and Terrell says, hey, do you got pictures of Jesse? I'm like, what do you mean, do I have pictures of Jesse? And he goes, have you seen the news?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh God. Because, you know, I something inside me felt like it was someone I knew, but I didn't know it was Jesse. He was misidentified. He was called Mexican. He was called Pacific Islander. He was like, they didn't know what he was. And then he was homeless. So it was like, oh, this, you know, unknown human. And that was the piece that really, to me, of anything that got me more angry was how they were just dismissing him as a non-existent human because he was homeless at the time. And to this day, that is the piece of it that pisses me off. And when I go back and look at old articles and see that they didn't even know who he was or cared to know who he was. And he was someone's brother, someone's son, someone's cousin, you know? And so when we did get together as a family and realize that we either do something or we walk away from it. And I'm not going to be able to talk on the Khmer tradition as far as Buddhism goes and preparing him for his journey. That is for Mary or Kenysha to talk about. But our first month was preparing for the funeral. And so we missed a window of opportunity because a lot of families have press conferences right away. We didn't do any of that. We all just we went into family and mode and prepared for his beautiful service. And maybe you guys could talk a little bit about that. And then I'll talk later about where the case is at.
Okay. Well, right when his death happened, I was just chilling at my boyfriend's house and they're calling me in the middle of the night, come over, something happened. And I was like, oh no, like I already know where this is going to go. And who is it? Like, I need to know who it is. And when I heard it, I was just, man, really? Jesse? Like that? Just like that. And then we took like the week to do it traditionally with all the family, to pray, let his spirit know that he's okay to go. He's gonna go to a better place, and
Offer offerings to our ancestors, telling them to guide his way home. And but for Cambodian tradition, when he passes away, he's not gone. he's still with us until his 100th day. So he had a memorial service, but we didn't actually let him go until his 100th day. So for our traditions, we would set out dinner for him, set out incense, call him to come home, just as if he was still there with us. And then on the 100th day is when we tell him that, hey, you passed away, it's time for you to go now. And we're not, because they give us that 100th day to grieve and cry, and after that we're allowed to be like, we're allowed to let him go, and that's when he will finally know that it's time for him to move on to his next life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds
for sharing
cliche,
that.
but this is our religion is like it's the way Buddhist is, we don't actually believe in heaven or hell. It's just you're always there with us, no matter.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I think that's beautiful. Okay, you guys, if I go off screen, I'm going to be putting the video on with pictures of Jesse. Just a heads up, they'll be playing through the video. So what was the original narrative that you guys heard on the news?
Well, like I said before, we didn't really hear much. We just heard that he was shot, and it wasn't like Instamatic where there were people with cell phones and it went public.
Okay.
So we didn't even see live footage until quite a while afterwards. If you take a look at the prosecution and what they had put out, they went in and put together an amazing video clip that was about 10 minutes long, and they reconstructed it from cameras that were different places on site. So it took them months to collect this, and they hired 2 professionals. I think it cost the prosecution paid $75,000 to reconstruct Jesse's murder.
Wow.
And if we didn't have that, and it's public, I wish I sent you the link. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have heard his last words. And I don't know if Kenysha or Mary saw it. If I talk about it, and I hope that I'm not sharing with you something. Did you guys watch the video or not?
Yeah,
I know that the video's there, but
I
haven't
heard the
got
video.
the courage to watch it.
So I watched it, and I don't want to make you guys uncomfortable, but it's really important that people understand it was within a matter of 37 seconds from the time that Jesse encountered the police officer to the moment that Jesse died. And to me, that's the part that was really hard, because you could hear Jesse in the background saying, what's going on? I mean, he was very confused about why he was being approached. And so when we saw that in the video, and you could see that happening, the interaction, and the police, you can hear the police dog in the car barking. He left the dog in the car, and he didn't wait for backup. And there's just all these weird stuff. And these are things that I can kind of talk about because it's public. It's out there in the public. But the thing that really made me more sad than anything is the last person to be with Jesse was his killer. Because you could see the cop sitting next to Jesse, bleeding out on the ground next to the ice chest, and the cop is there. And I'm like, that part is what really will stay with me forever.
Yeah, I still don't have the courage to watch the video myself.
I'm sorry. I know, and that's not fair. Our family,
that he cried out to go home. He just wanted to go home.
Yep.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that. So within 37 seconds, he was shot.
The first shot.
The first
and
shot?
4 seconds later, the second shot.
Followed up. My goodness.
So he was already down. He was shot very close range into his upper torso. And then he was already laying there. He was down, and the cop came and shot him in the temple the second time. So it was like, an overkill. We don't understand why even the second shot. He was not a threat by that time. Okay, I'll let the video go.
Yeah, so it's pictures. So is it showing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And Elaine, I did read in there that you said he was leaning against the ice cream machine.
Oh, this is really cute. So this is Jesse in the red. Oh, you want to go back one?
Yeah, let me.
Sorry, if you could just phrase it so at least they see who they're seeing.
Let's see, right there, right?
Okay, so Jesse's in the front in the red. And then we've got his older brother, Matthew, in black. And right behind him with the white and red is Terrell. You guys help me. I can't even recognize who the other two cousins are.
The other one sitting is my brother Andrew, and then the guy setting up is his friend Vladimir.
Oh, they're so young, aren't they?
I know.
Okay, you can, that's at a roller skating party that we went to. Okay, you can freeze it. So this is, so Terrell at this time was living with me, and he's the one holding his little baby brother Colton. That's the mother, Carrie, and Matthew, and then Jesse's the one leaning over. And this was, let's see, Colton's 14 now. So how old is Colton in this picture? About 3?
About 3, yeah.
Oh, this is about 10 years ago. It's such a, I just love this picture. This is over at Grandma's house.
And just want to let you guys know again, people are saying hello. Yeah, people are saying hello. Justice for Jesse Sarey. And we got people on here communicating with us and listening. Let's go ahead and finish playing this.
Okay, go ahead. I won't stop you. Oh, this one, you guys want to talk about the memorial that we had on his birthday? If you could go back one, I'm sorry. Oh, well, okay. Kenysha, you guys want to talk about the memorial on his birthday? Oh, it's going too fast. What you saw earlier with the candle was at the, it's really, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, usually, Elaine, because we're talking and we only have an hour.
Oh, okay.
Just played
this is at the court. This is at the arraignment. Here we are at some protests. So we went out to a lot of rallies and protests. This is my first testimony against the killer cop. And then this is the family at the court. So we got to go in there. And so basically, what's happened since Jesse's death was that we spent a lot of time kind of figuring out how do we get his story and his name out there. And I think that was part of, you know, when we met on the first day was I got permission from the family to go out and see what we could do. And then I continued to invite the family to any opportunities like today. But to give you guys an update on the situation, we had a bill called I-940, and I don't know much about it, but the bill was put in place that if someone is killed and it looks like that there was something of question and malice, it would be something they would look at. It was passed, Jesse was the 19th person on the side of I-940, but the first person that they actually took and decided to make it a case. And so Jeff Nelson is the first officer arrested and charged with second-degree murder and first-degree assault under the 940 law, but he's also one of the first cops in 30 years in the state of Washington. And so we are in unprecedented times. Jesse's case is not just for Jesse, it is for all impacted families, because in Washington state, they have an inquest process. And an inquest process doesn't necessarily ever allow your family to have any time in courts. You don't ever see sometimes a criminal case. Usually families have to go the civil route. And the civil route to me is, I mean, I'm gonna just call it what it is. It's like, okay, here, we'll give you this money. Let's just forget about what happened. And there's nothing punitive against the cop. So to me, Jeff Nelson's no longer a cop. He right now is Jeff Nelson, a civilian. And if Jeff Nelson, a civilian, killed somebody in second-degree murder and first-degree assault, he would be held on at least a $1 million to $1.5 million bail, or he would not get a bail. He would be in jail. And what they did with Jeff Nelson, they treated him above the law. They did not put a bail on him. They were going to release him on his own accord, that he would show up for court. And so at our arraignment, I got up and I testified, and I said, no, how can you treat him differently? And I was so scared. I mean, I've never testified in court, and I had to look at this man in the eyes. I mean, to look at the guy who killed our son, our foster son, our cousin, our brother. And the judge agreed. She said that he should not be treated above the law. And what is most compelling is my students are in juvenile detention center. I'm an art teacher with kids that are in juvie, and they are watching this case and they're following this case. And when I came back to teach and they saw that he didn't even get a bail, they said, Miss Elaine, that's fucked up. We're in here in jail for some crimes where we have $1 million bail and we don't have the luxury to be out free. And yet this 3-time killer is free. So he is home. He's on house arrest. And so if I was to say anything, and I'm using my grief and my pain politically. I'm using it to have a voice to make changes. And one of the things that I would want to see happen is decertification of killer cops. That if they kill, then they should not even be considered a police. The minute they're killed, and especially if they're charged, he is not a cop no more. He should be treated like a civilian, which means he would be behind jail, in jail right now. And that's really, that's how I feel. You guys take on. I'm a little passionate. I'm going to quiet down for a minute, Kenysha and Mary. Sorry. I got on my little.
It's okay. Go off. I agree.
Yeah. And, thanks for hitting those different points. Those are all too common with, the different cases of police killings, even brutality in other forms. They get special treatment. If we murdered somebody, we wouldn't. It's common. It should be common sense. We know it is, but they're heavily protected, and that should absolutely happen, across the nation.
Well, if they would have arrested him after his first kill, or maybe arrested him after his second kill, there would not be this third kill.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Jeff Nelson. Let's talk about him and his
Jeff Nelson has three. He has 3 kills and 85 assault charges. And out of 8 murders in 11 years in the city of Auburn, which is about 28 miles south of Seattle, in 11 years, he's responsible for 3 out of 8 murders in his own police department.
Did you say 3 kills and 85 assaults?
Charges.
Wow.
So, allegations or people that have opened up complaints.
And I mean, I personally, even before my family has been impacted by our loss, it's impossible almost to make a complaint against a cop. I've tried to do it before for different reasons, and they make it impossible to make complaints. So 85 though, that is ridiculous. And 3 kills, it's not the first time I've heard of these officers that kill multiple people. And it's just, it's insane. It's horrible. I don't know how it keeps happening. And just like you said, maybe if something would have happened back then the next one wouldn't happen. And something I often think about is all these killer cops that are walking around free, they're all having the potential to kill. And there's a lot of them.
Well, that's why I believe anyone that, especially now that he's been charged and arrested, he needs to be decertified. He needs to never be a cop again. Even if we don't win in the trial, that man should not be ever back on a police force, And it's costing taxpayers dollars, we're prolonging. The trial has been prolonged. We've had 3 continuance. We were supposed to meet in November, then it was continued to December. Now it's continued out to January. And now we do not have in-person trials. So if we even go to trial, it's going to be a virtual trial. I mean, I know we should be humble. I understand. Yes, he got arrested. Yes, he got charged, but it keeps being continued.
Gosh, virtual trial, that would be like, how would this work? Yeah, I know several families that are expecting to go to trial in the next year, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. And I mean, not criminal, I'll be clear, not criminal trial. This is very rare. Once again, it's civil trial that I'm referring to, but
yeah, that's true. Okay, I thank you for saying that, Marissa. I didn't understand when I was meeting with impacted families and they started talking about inquest. I was like, I didn't know what an inquest was because we already knew we were going a different route. And we didn't realize that our route was a very unusual. It is very unprecedented. And so I felt really strange when people said, well, where is your family in the inquest? Are you guys on the docket? And I kept saying, we don't know anything about that. We're going a different direction. And it felt really horrible. And that's why I give a lot of props back. I mean, I don't know much about 940. I'm not going to say that I'm a professional. However, Jesse's case fell under the 940. And
sorry, I was just going to say, do you know when it passed?
It passed, oh gosh, I wish Poe was listening right now, because it was right when his cousin was killed. So I want to say in 2018. If there's anyone watching, can you put in comments when I-940 actually was passed? It was the brainchild of Andre Taylor, who lost his brother Shay Taylor, and he created a nonprofit called Not This Time. And then Sonia Joseph and a lot of other people came on board and created this bill, which our family has benefit from.
Okay, so it's pretty new though.
Yeah,
that's pretty relatively new. So I mean, that's great. California, we had something passed with the use of force within the last couple of years as well. But I mean, not too much change, but there's potential. So I mean, that's part of this. I believe personally, part of the fight lands on the legal side, but there's so many layers to this justice fight. But that definitely is one, getting the legislative changes, and part of that is them actually honoring and enforcing them, which is the harder part. Well, they're both hard.
yeah. I mean, I joined a group called Washington Coalition for Police Accountability. So it's my first time being part of this legislative movement. And that's why decertification is one of the bills coming up. And that's the one that I think is really relevant to Jesse's case. And so I sent that out to the family just so they could see what the decertification is. But to me, that makes a lot of sense that this guy should never be a cop ever again, bottom line. And so, Kenysha, Mary, is there any thoughts about the process, the waiting on the trial, anything you guys want to share about that?
I'm kind of just on the, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of on the back burner. I'm just waiting for you guys to tell me what's going on, because
Me too.
both you guys know more than me and Mary know. Like, you and Vesna are more organized with those things. I just show up when you guys tell me to show up.
Me too, honestly.
And I mean,
I just want to thank the Sarey family for trusting me, being a white presenting woman and a foster mother that has been out here advocating on behalf of Jesse. I hold that very strong, and I know that if I ever do anything that would fuck this up, you guys would call me out, because you guys would definitely call me out if I wasn't doing right by you and Jesse.
And I want to, remind you guys too that this stuff is so abnormal. It is not natural. We don't know what to do. There's no manual on it. So, I mean, even you guys joining this right now with us and showing up when they ask you to, that's like freaking awesome. A lot of my family, like I can get my parents to show up, but other than that, we really don't have, like, our family didn't really come together like that for us, for my brother. So I think that's great. And I have a question for you, all three of you, if you guys could touch on this. I like to ask is, what was your guys' thoughts before on police officers and the brutality, if you guys were aware, or if this
It was sickening. Oh my gosh, so much killings, probably over what, thousands a year, more than thousands, way more than that. It's just, why do you have to escalate to that? Like, you have other steps to do, so why do you go straight to killing an innocent person? It's just not right at all for anyone.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mary.
Possibly the first thing.
I can't, is Kenysha talking?
I don't know.
Like, what do you do first? If you're
Oh, she is. Open your mic, Kenysha.
Now I feel like I don't want to call the police for shit. What the hell are they gonna do for me? You know what I mean? So it's like after watching so much, you would never be the one to think that would happen.
I know she's saying something. I just can't hear it.
No, we can't hear you.
I know we
Kenysha.
can't hear you.
Oh,
There you go.
sorry.
Yeah, we heard you, but we couldn't hear you.
Okay, where was I?
No idea.
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. No, I was just saying how I used to be the one that always want to, rely on the police to come and protect us and save the day. And, you see all these police kill. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Clearly?
Yes.
Sorry. And you hear all these, all these stories about police killing people. And it's just like, now I don't even, I'm scared of cops. Like, if I know I'm gonna get pulled over, like my heart just like beats like crazy, and I get the worst anxiety. And that's all because of everything that's been going on in the world with the police killing people for no reason. And and it hits harder when it's the police killed somebody that you're very close with. You think, oh, that stuff just happens on the TV, but you know what, once it is hard to grasp. And now when I see police officers, or I avoid eye contact. And we shouldn't be scared of them, you know what I mean?
Steven's about to come in, so keep talking. I'm about to see what he's having a hard time getting in. So you're gonna see
in the waiting room.
I don't know. He just wrote me saying he's trying to get in.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna see someone named Jesse Sarey, and he's a cousin.
Okay.
So with me on the whole police situation, I don't even look at him as a police. I already told you he's no cop to me no more. So the minute I saw him in the courtroom, I started off calling him Officer Jeff Nelson. And by the time that I said that he needed to be arrested, he became Jeff Nelson. He does not deserve to be a cop. And there are cops out there that, one day will wake up and realize they need to make a decision on what side of the blue line they're going to be on. And if they really want to be working as police officers, and Jeff Nelson is an example of what is doing to their career, they're going to have to make a decision to call out when they see something like that going on in their force. Because for 8 years, this guy was on the Auburn police force, and they allowed him to continue to be there. And that is not doing that's not justice for the police officers that may be good officers out there. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm a cop lover, but I'm also saying I'm not going to pass judgment on the good cops out there because of someone as evil as this office, as Jeff Nelson. And so that's where I come from. I have a real hard time. I can't go out there and hate all cops. I'm not in that place in my heart, but I do not see Jeff Nelson as a cop anymore. He doesn't deserve to even have that title.
So before this though, did you before this, were you aware of like the killings and brutality and stuff like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Charlene Lyles. Seattle's had some really high profile cases. I mean, we had Charlene Childs, we had I'm not going to go through all the names because that's just too many, but there's been so many police killings and so many families impacted in Washington State that it just breaks my heart that these police departments are allowing these things to continue and perpetuate within their work. And that to me is not acceptable.
Absolutely. And I want to remind everybody watching, like, this is not just an isolated event. It's not just something even in your own state, even families, that we're all in different states, but this is absolutely what is happening across the whole nation. And once again, this is a rare case where an officer has been charged, and we hope to see him behind bars. So Stephen and Kelli are waiting in the waiting room. So let's
bring them in. And I'll introduce them to you. Or Kenysha and Mary, you can also introduce your cousins.
So their audio is connecting. I'm not sure if they're gonna be on video. But...
Hi, Kelli. You're on mute. Kenysha and Mary, you want to introduce your cousin?
Where is Stephen at?
Stephen is
warming up chicken wings.
Honey, can you?
Oh yeah,
well, that's our cousin Stephen, and then that's his wife Kelli.
Oh, Kelli, you got to go off mute. Okay.
And just so you guys know, we are live on Facebook right now, and we are talking. People are engaging and watching us, having this conversation. So we're talking about your cousin. Are you guys both cousins, Stephen and Kelli, or?
Yes, he's here. He's just...
Okay, just checking. Yeah, so during this, we've shared some about Jesse, and we like to share the perspective too of the impacted families that are here dealing with this. I am also impacted family. I lost my brother to police murder. So if there's anything you want to share about Jesse or about this whole situation that you guys want to share with the viewers or just want to put out there, please do.
We've all talked a lot.
I mean, sorry, I wasn't like, I haven't been keeping up. I'm not prepared for none of this right now. I haven't been keeping up. I've just been knee deep in work. But I mean, as far as my cousin Jesse, he was a class clown, a goofball, just a goofy person, just a fun person to be around. He had his little, personal issues, everybody does, like everyone else, you know what I mean? But for the most part, he managed himself, he just fell on hard times like everybody else, and some people are able to pick themselves up and some people are not. But that doesn't make him less human or less than anybody else, and definitely doesn't give them, the law enforcement, the right to take his life.
And thank you for sharing that. I want to point out to the viewers too that he was only 26 years old, right?
Yeah.
He was so young and had his whole life ahead of him. And
right.
I'm sorry for your loss. Were you guys aware of the police brutality, of the severity of it?
I mean, you see it everywhere, all over the news, all over social media. Not once that I ever thought that it was gonna hit home, and it was gonna be my little cousin. You know, I mean, no one is prepared for that, and it's really frustrating. You know what I mean? When you see it happen to other people, you're already mad and you're already disappointed in the system and everything, and then it hits at home, and then now it really like, you know, like you're just enraged, you know. And these people are supposed to be professional. You know, they spend a lot of time training. De-escalating the situation is common sense. I mean, we're none of us are law enforcement and we know better than that. We're taught that in school, you know, and as we're kids. So it's kind of like, you know, it to result into like to just kind of take matters. I mean, they are law enforcement, but they're not the law. They're supposed to enforce the law and obey the law like us, you know. But it's like you can't take it into your own hands like that, you know. And it was wrong on him. But you know, just due to the record of that officer, um, he knows what he's doing. It's not like that was his first time. He knew what he was doing. Um, and he knew what he was getting himself into when he left the army and then joined the Auburn police force. So what he was taught in the army, he carried that tactics and that mindset and that animalistic that he just wanted to bring out onto the streets and civilians. I mean, if he's on record of killing 3 people and just hurting everybody else out here and you know the general population, can you imagine what he was doing over there overseas to other people who don't have a voice like us? You know, and I feel sorry for the people that don't get a chance to like bring everything to light like the way how we do and everyone else right now. You know, but like, can you just imagine like? And anyone who's praising him, who's from the army with him, it's like you're co-signing everything that he did. Are you co-signing or did you help him? Are you like agreeing with him or doing it with him? You know? So it's like it's scary because he ain't the only one out there that acts like that feels like that. But he himself right now, he put himself in a situation to bring light to who he is and what he does. And it's nothing good. So, you know, the system already doesn't have a good history of like it's hard to trust people when they just say, "Oh, you're supposed to trust us."
Yeah.
You know, you can't get around in life. You can't get a job. You can't do anything. You can't get a loan just because you said it's cool. Just trust me. But when they do that, you know, like, oh, we're police officer. We wear this badge. You're supposed to trust us.
And then when they're beating people up and killing people, you know, thank you. Like you had a lot of good things, you know, and when you said about, you know, the people that co-signing it, you know, that's exactly how I feel about the whole police. I feel that about the system, you know, the DAs that don't charge. Jesse, as I shared earlier, I think before you hopped on, is a rare instance of Jeff Nielsen being charged for murder. So there are thousands of other families like my own where we haven't, like, I don't know if the officers that murdered my brother 4 years ago will ever either get charged. You know, I don't believe that because we're not there yet. And I told them earlier, one win for one family is a win for others. So
Yes.
I feel that way. These officers that, you know, that are running the streets like this, all the other officers are watching them. Everybody knows police beat up people, police kill people, police do all this. So just thank you for touching some of those spots. There are a lot of other families watching right now live with us, and they're just agreeing and thanking everybody for their comments and sharing with us right now.
And, you know, I like what you said about, you know, one win is a win for all. And that is something that is spoken a lot among the impacted families here in Washington. When we had our arraignment, I don't remember how many impacted family members. Were there at least 10 that showed up in solidarity for us?
There was quite a bit.
There were a lot. I mean, these people, these impacted families who have had their own suffering and not had their day in court and may never have their day in court, they came and they wrapped their love and support around the Sarey family. And we are very thankful for that. I mean, I can't even begin to, I will not name them all because if I leave out someone, I'm going to feel horrible, but they know who they are. If you guys are watching this,
it's too much people to name.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's how it should be. Like a lot of us, when my brother was killed, like I met people via online in different areas that I'm thankful for because they were an emotional support to me. But, we didn't have anything over here. Like we didn't ever have nobody doing anything besides me. And while I'm holding my whole family up. And so I'm happy to hear that you guys got treated like that because, I mean, that's after it's been almost 4 years, and that's where I find myself being wanting to be is connecting with the families. And we want to see families win in court, and we want to see cases go to criminal court. So we're here supporting you guys 100%. If that's a virtual trial, then they're gonna have like hella people, hella impacted families
Yeah.
are gonna want to
Right,
be
right.
in and support.
We're hoping
So,
it's virtual. I think if it goes virtual, then the entire nation can watch it. Even
yeah,
my
I'm happy
students
about that.
and my students in juvie, because I want to tell you the truth. If you have an in-person trial, we work. It's daytime hours. So family's going to be at work, and how many days can we take off to be at the trial when we have to go to our day jobs to pay our bills? But if you go virtual, then we have a way where people can sign in and out and be present. I think if we go virtual, it will really allow people to see a process that we've never seen. 30 years. Nobody's seen a murder trial of a cop in Washington,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That would definitely, that's what I was thinking. They might not expect, like, they might not want that because you guys are going to get a lot of support. I was going to ask you guys something.
Stephen, just to give you a little idea, he was the first person called when Jesse was murdered. So he missed that question, but he was if you want to just touch a little about that part, because she asked earlier about how we found out.
Yeah, if you would like to share how you guys found out.
Oh, when I got the call, oh, okay. Um, I was in Eastern Washington, and I was out there doing a family fishing trip, spending time with family, and and we were out there, and it wasn't a lot of, it's like a hit or miss service out there, and just had a good old weekend, just coming back with a bunch of fish to bring back to the family, catching it with family, and finally when I got some service as we were leaving there, I got a bunch of missed calls by a random number, and a voice message, and I checked the voice message, and it was like it wasn't really the coroners, it was like the hospital people, and they were calling and they were saying, yeah, we're calling on behalf of Jesse Sarey. There's been a medical condition and we're trying to locate, his older cousin. He said my name, and then I was like, wow, this is I hope nothing happened. To be honest with you, I told my other cousins and them and my uncle that was in the car with me, I hope, like, just hearing it, I was just like, man, I just hope, like, what I actually said, to be honest, was like, he better not be dead. I don't know what popped in my head and what caused me to say that, but I said that, and everyone in the car was just quiet. And then finally, when we got some real service, where I was able to make a call, they were talking about a medical emergency, and I'm like, a medical emergency, I've never had that kind of call before. So, and then when I called them, they was like, yeah, he was killed and was involved in an officer shooting. And I was like, and the first thing I said to them, I was like, the police killed my cousin, huh? And it sucks for that to be the first thing to pop up in my head, because it's been popping up everywhere all over the news already with everyone else's family. So that was the first thing that came to mind. And then they told me they couldn't tell me anymore. It's under investigation. And I was like, yeah. And that was like kind of like a silent 3-hour drive back home. And as soon as I was able to figure out some more, I called his mom, and she was at Fred Meyer's with Jesse's younger brother, and they were shopping, and I was like, put your mom on the phone. Matter of fact, have your mom sit down first. Find a spot to sit down. I'm about to get ready to tell you guys something. And mind you, before I was about to tell him this, she just dealt with her husband's death that passed away a month before that.
goodness.
So that's why I was like, yeah, tell my little cousin Cole, tell mom to sit down. I gotta tell her something. And when I told her, it was, yeah,
Gosh, that's
she
horrible.
was in the store, and it was just, yeah, you can hear it in her voice. And it was bad. It was bad, yeah. And me, I was just more filled with anger and just like kind of like another one. We lose family member in this family like crazy, and it's just like, and that was the first time that's ever happened. You know, usually most of the time it's just just natural causes and everything, but like for that to happen, it was like wow. And I was just filled with anger. Automatically, when I came back, I went to go check out the scene. I went to go talk to people there. I talked to the store owner. I talked to the people in the barber that was next to it that happened in front of it. I went to the building across that had a camera, and I did my own little investigation, try to get some videos. Nobody would give it to me. I said, it's either you're gonna give it to me, or I'm gonna end up with it anyways because yeah. And the only people who gave me anything was the barber that was connected to that corner store, and they had it on like on Snapchat, and they showed me a video of within a couple of seconds of hearing the first few shots, and they went outside with the cameras, and the barber was packed with people, packed with kids, just everything. There's a bunch of families in there, and then one of the guys came out and just videotaped my cousin on the ground, just slumped over. You just see blood everywhere. It was, it was something you didn't want to see, and yeah. So.
Gosh, thank you for sharing. This is my 6th episode, and this is but I've talked to like hundreds of other impacted families over these last 4 years, and that's a common theme is that we have to do some of our own investigation, like what you just shared. That's what I had to do after my brother was killed. I had to walk and go door to door, try to get some answers, try to obtain surveillance. So, gosh, like people on the outside, I don't think they quite understand, how much really goes on. And for you having to tell the mother also, it's some heavy shade.
I had them send me the videos, 2 different videos. There was 2 different videos, and there was some photos that I had too. Oh no, it was a video that I had. Both within those 2 videos. I got rid of the video, but in one of the videos, it showed Officer Nelson standing there speaking to another police officer, smiling.
Yeah.
The people that were that showed me the video that was out there videotaping told me themselves, said, yeah, he pretty much, after he shot him, he was like really calm and everything. And then as soon as all the sirens and all, they had backup show up and everyone show up, that's when he started to pant and got on his knees and was pretty much like, you know what I mean? Like acting like he was injured and, oh, he was sorry and whoop-de-whoop and all that stuff. Like, yeah, yeah, whatever, and it just, when I had that video, I watched that video so many times. I think I watched it like every day. I watched it at least once or twice.
Did you watch the one that came out from the prosecution office yet? Because a lot of the family haven't.
Yeah, I've seen that. At all, I looked at whatever, and pretty much I drew my own conclusion. It pretty much matched everything that we already saw on the proof of everything. And my little investigation didn't even stop there. When I went to the funeral home to bring him his clothes, I requested to see his body by myself, and and I wanted to see where he got hit, where man,
you were able to? They let you?
Yeah, they turned them to the side for me to see where the exit was. I wanted to see everything. I wanted to see shot placement. I wanted to see the enter and exit wound. One was in his chest and not his back rib to the right side. And then one was right above his left eyebrow, right at the arch, right in the face. And there was no exit wound because it was a downward motion. It went downwards into him and then got lodged into his shoulder blades. So that means he was looking down, holding himself because of the first shot. And yeah, I saw all of that. They left me alone with him. I spoke to him and, just talking to him and letting him know, this is not going to stop. And I didn't think it was going to get this big. I didn't think everyone was going to be a part of it as much as it is right now, and look what it spiraled into. And I'm glad that we're going to use this officer in this case and my cousin's death as an example to all other law enforcement in every county, every country, everywhere, as an example. And I can't wait until the court do their job the right way, and yeah, it's gonna be a long fight. It's gonna be a hard fight. But man, we grew up fighting and kicking and screaming when we came out the womb. So what's new?
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing about Cambodians, man. Whew. They're a tight-knit community, and I had the pleasure to be with Kelli and Stephen and Terrell and travel to Cambodia, and with to be able to experience this kind of love and to survive Khmer Rouge. They're all first generation. All the cousins were born in America, but their family did not leave Khmer Rouge to come to America to then have this happen. They thought they were going to something better for their children,
Yeah.
I didn't like it, the fact that after everything happened, the first thing they did was crucify him on the news for everyone to see, for it to be to make it seem like it was justified. Like, come on now, you're gonna bring up his criminal history and everything. Isn't that the reason why people serve their time and pay their fines?
Yep.
You're paying your dues for what you done wrong. It's not like he did everything and he's scot-free, didn't do anything and didn't do his time, you know what I mean? So he did everything, he did everything that they gave him, plus more, So it's like, you're gonna do that. I mean, well, you're gonna reach all the way back to every time he had an F in school, like, come on now. But the police officer, he's praised, he's a hero. Well, you're a hero for what? Who did you protect? Who did you save? Like, what was this? The scenario wasn't even that serious. You were like 6 foot something. My cousin is like 5'4". You're wrapped in body armor. You're a walking, like, you're a Terminator, man. And you're trained to use everything that you have on you. And the first thing you do is grab a sidearm. And then they want to put it on the news and paint it on the news that that my cousin had a knife, or he was afraid he had a knife. The officer didn't even know the knife fell out of him while he was beating up my cousin until the witness mentioned that, yeah, there was a knife that slid out and I put it on top of my hood. And then it gave him time to use that as an alibi. Like, well,
Exactly.
I didn't know where the knife was. Like, come on, man. That's your knife,
And they have other things that they can use. There's the baton. He had a canine with
He had a
him.
dog.
I mean,
But
the
that was-
dog lodged in the
Yeah.
car.
And then and then other people who is going to be on his side is going to be like, well, how come he didn't apply? How come he didn't like obey the law? How come he didn't? Why was he out there kicking and screaming? How come he didn't just listen to police officer? How come he this and that? You know what I mean? And they can justify it all they want, but let it happen to one of your family members. You'll be kicking and screaming and crying too.
Exactly.
You'll be trying to find justice also. Okay, so sitting there trying to paint a picture on how evil this person is.
What they're doing is dehumanizing a loved one.
Oh yeah.
And that is the part that it doesn't resonate with us, is that they have taken Jesse and taken the humanity away from
Right.
who he was.
Mhm.
Police killing did not just start. It's just now being recorded.
Yeah.
It's everywhere now.
And with social media now, like and just friends and in my network and my contacts, hundreds of impacted families. And they're across the nation, like some of them are in California and we've met and gathered, but most of these friends of mine, like we're all spread out. And if it weren't for, technology and the way things are right now, we wouldn't even, that's what's helping us too. And I do want to just touch on, the assassination of the character. That's their same old shit that they
Oh
keep
yeah.
doing.
Oh yeah.
And, like now, like if I didn't see Jesse's story when it first happened, I learned about it a little later. But every time I see, because there's so many, every time I see a new one, I can spot like the same language they use, like lunged, or they thought they had a gun, or they moved in a strange way, like all this
Right.
stupid shit. Like who believes this shit anymore?
Right.
And that's all they can say. That's all they can do. It's going to be repetitive, whether it be this case or the next case or the next killing after that. It's all going to be the same. The media is going to put out there. They're going to dig in deep and find every bad thing about that person. And they're, it's easier for everyone to hate that person if that person was bad, if he was a criminal, or if he was this or if he was that. So bring it on. It's,
Well, when they say they think, oh, I thought, or I thought, and I was thinking they was doing this, and I thought they were gonna do that. Well, now you're just like guessing what they're doing. But why are you so for sure that you're gonna pull out your gun and execute him?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Chris, I have a question for you. You say that this is uploaded into YouTube, so that
No, I upload it after. It's live on Facebook right now, and then afterwards I download it and it gets uploaded to YouTube as well.
so with the Facebook, will we be able to look at the comments to see who was on
Yes.
there? Oh,
Yes, and I was gonna tell you guys right now, there are a lot of comments and support. So I will encourage everybody to go on, because I can't keep up with all of them, but I encourage you guys, just go see what people are sharing and saying. It's all like, supportive stuff. I did see something. Yeah, because when I clicked out, it doesn't show me the comments yet, but there was a mother. I'm sorry, I didn't catch her name. She wanted to ask a question. Her question was, she said, I just seen it real quick, so I don't want to get the names wrong, but I believe her son's first name was Chad, and she said he was killed, and that officer, it's also his third kill. She's not in the same state though, but she's just asking if you guys think this officer is being charged because of the third kill, or do you guys, think maybe because also the law? Just your opinion. The mother
Jesse,
asked that.
we're on the side of I-940. Brian and Isaiah were before I-940. So
Yeah.
Jesse's case is the 19th kill under the I-940, and his case was it was too much right inside that new bill.
That law had to pass for them to do their job even more
Thank you,
thoroughly.
Stephen.
Yeah, so-
like, come on now. Like, it should have never, after that first kill, that first kill should have never happened. But after that first kill, there should have never been two more. There should have never been nothing else in between there. Come on, if you work at a regular store and you got caught stealing once, you're fired.
Yeah.
You might not be able to be entered in that to enter that store or that establishment for however long. They can ban you for life if they wanted to. But why? And that's just stealing.
Yeah, Stephen, earlier I was talking about decertification, that a police officer, that was it. They shouldn't even be a police officer anymore,
Police officers, they sign up to be in the front line of danger, to help people, to everything. You know what I mean? That's why they wear everything and they're trained to use everything that they have. That's gotta be like the last resort, you know what I mean, is to take someone's life. There are officers out there that come across like other stuff, you know what I mean, like other people trying to harm them and stuff, but there's a big difference between someone trying to hurt you and you trying to hurt them. You know what I mean? And you're an officer, so you're trained to see that. You're supposed to see that. You're supposed to like analyze everything. And with everything going on right now, it's crazy because do these officers themselves watch the news and see other officers getting put on the spotlight for what they're doing? So it's like they don't care what's going on. They're just gonna be the next person getting put on the news, and they don't care because they feel like they're the law and the law gets their back, and then it just lets them off the hook easily. Come on now, let one of us do one of that. We'll be under the jail right now. bail is gonna be so high, we can't even reach it. It's almost like
Marissa, did you hear he had a GoFundMe for his, and it was for his dog?
for his dog.
No,
And a bunch of
his
activists
dog was
in
the
Washington.
organizer.
Yeah, his dog was
His
the
dog
organizer or the
organizer.
payee.
Yeah.
Come on now.
So the dog, his canine was the organizer, quote unquote, and it was for his attorney fees and his whatever he needed it for.
You know dang well he made that himself.
Exactly, but
What a,
And activists in Washington totally took it down. They all went out,
Right.
and it got taken down at what, 20,000. He still made $20,000 on that GoFundMe.
no, I think once GoFundMe took it down, I think the money gets returned to
Good.
the
Okay, I never
people.
knew
Yeah.
that part of it.
Mhm.
And
That
who
was
are
just
the-
like nothing made us so angry because on Jesse's GoFundMe, because we never done something like that.
Mhm.
You know, we even put our own GoFundMe down because it was so weird to go out there putting it out there without people even having context of
Yeah.
it.
And for the people who helped build that 20,000 under his account,
Ah,
come on, man. I hope you're watching too.
It's crazy
I hope you're
because
watching too.
I read some of the comments from the Auburn Police Department's Facebook page, and when they posted about the story, everyone on there was like, "Oh, prayers to him and his canine, and oh, he's such a hero, and oh, this guy is so bad, and he has a record, and he has this and does all that," and it's crazy, like how I just don't understand how people are just so blind to what the hell is going on. Like they really just think that this guy is just like God.
Hey, for all the people that had his back, the officer's back, and helped raise all that money and think that it was justified, keep the same energy. Keep the same energy when everything is all said and done.
Karma's a bitch.
You know, you could sit there and type all you want, be computer keyboard thugs and send out monies and all that stuff. You keep the same energy when all of this is said and done and the final result come down of this officer right now.
I envision, you know what I envision if we were not virtual, when we went into the arraignment, half the room was Auburn cops. So there must have been, I don't know how many deep cops there.
Oh, yeah.
And when I came downstairs and I saw all the cops waiting to come in, they were going to take all the seats. So this little lady, I'm a little, you don't want to fuck with me. I went to the front. I walked right in front of the cops and stood right in front of the door, and then start calling Steven and family saying, when you come down, just come right up front. And they just we all just mobbed in. I mean,
oh yeah, they wasn't trying to let nobody through. I just shoulder bumped everybody through. I mean, I'm not waiting. I'm not trying to be polite. I mean, you guys are definitely not polite. So I mean, we're trying to make a statement right now, just as much as they are. So you're not gonna intimidate us or anything like that. I mean, you're not scaring nobody right now. So
I imagine eventually, maybe one by one, those cops are going to start coming and sitting with us. I mean, that would be when we see the blue line cross, when they realize that they've got a bad cop in their department and they need to make up their decision.
No, they definitely went over there like that to support him. It's like
they already knew
lock
that
the doors
Jill
for
was
our family not to get in.
yeah.
Like my thing with these cops, like I don't have like, that's good if Elaine, you have faith in them, but
I'm just kidding.
He's already killed twice.
Yeah.
You know, these cops, like no matter what, just like the comments that you touched on, Kelly, the comments you guys are getting, like they're congratulating the heroes, they're thanking them, they're sending prayers to them, they're thanking the murderers for murdering your fucking loved
Exactly.
Hey, keep sending him prayers. He's gonna need it. He's gonna need all of that. Keep giving it to him. He's gonna need all of that, you know. And he's on the spotlight right now. The whole entire Auburn police is on the spotlight right now.
Yeah.
Everyone else is behind it too, you know. I said before, I'm pretty sure there are really good, nice officers out there that are just out there to serve and protect and do what they were sworn to. But where are they in a time like this? I haven't heard any officers speak out against or apologize or, like the chief of police that that they work for in Auburn hasn't came out and, oh, I'm sorry, blah, 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 you know, like, we're sorry for the behavior of our employees and all that stuff, and nothing.
Nothing. The mayor, nothing. City council, nothing. Chief of police, nothing. It's like they are so quiet about what is about to happen, but the domino effect will happen. Once he's charged and once he's put into jail, the rest of them are all gonna fall. It's gonna they're gonna collapse.
I mean, I think they had like a written statement on like their Twitter page or something, some bullshit like that, where they were just like, oh, okay, well, we're sorry, it shouldn't have happened, whatever bullshit. But you don't see them actually reaching out to the families and actually apologizing and, you know, sympathizing with the family. So it's kind of like you're just doing all this bullshit on social media just for clout, and all it is just for, you know, for media, for everyone to see that, oh, okay, you are being you are sympathizing with the family, and you are, you know, just being sorry about it. But it's just really dumb. Like, these people are just, you know, they know what they're doing at the end of the day, you know.
Us civilians, like human in general, we're not perfect. You can't even name one person who is perfect. But an officer should be, the officer of the law is supposed to be somewhat of an example of a perfect human being, you know, because it takes a certain responsibility to have that kind of responsibility, to be in the shoes of what you're trying to cover and what you're trying to do for people, you know. And so if they're tainted, their system's tainted, like everything is tainted, you know. Who do we look for help, you know? So, like, I don't know. I haven't called the cops on anybody before. I've never needed them for anything. I don't know. It's just these days, everyone got to keep in mind when when something happens and you have to call in you know, the police officer to come show up. Just keep in mind that
Something can happen to you.
Something can happen to you or the person you calling it to, just for something so simple. The chances of it are higher than it was before now.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of keep that in mind, you know, try to de-escalate the situation yourself as you were taught in school, in elementary and preschool and everything else. Because these grown ass men, these officers, these people who know better, they play dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Marissa, I want to thank you for taking your own pain and your own journey of losing your brother and putting together a platform like this, because we don't have a way to share how we feel. And it's a most courageous thing that you have done, to be able to reach out to families across the nation, to share our stories, to give us an opportunity, because we're silenced. It's like we have no voice out there. Even in the prosecution, in the courtroom, we're not on trial. It's State versus Nelson. And so, you know, I don't even know if we'll be able to make testimonies. Most of the time, we're just going to be sitting there watching the process. And so, on behalf of the Sarey family, I do want to thank you. And I also give prayers out for your loss of your loved one. And I'm sorry that justice hasn't been where it needed to be for you.
Yeah, and you know, I do want to share a little bit about this while just talking about sharing this thing that I started, which is the Voices of Strength episodes. We're on episode 6. It started just a few weeks ago. We're doing one a week. It's gonna go through. I've already committed to the year 2021. I almost said 2020. But I'm committed with families. We're already booked up to March, which I kind of stopped asking just for a minute, because I have so many families, but there will be an episode each week. And it's like the family sharing, like, these are the things people don't hear. I know one day that this library of our truths being shared will be recognized. And for now, you know, we've had between 20 and 2018 right now, but we've had about 20 people on the whole time. And these people are all engaging. They want to hear your guys' story and about Jesse. And yeah, more people need to hear this more. So that's why I built this. And for me, just the regular activism that people think of, like, hey, let's the protests and things like that. I've done all of this for the last 4 years, and I just find that this is better for me is I'm connecting with other families because a lot of us, like I said, we don't get our day in court. My family will go to civil trial sometime next year, and hopefully I know the DA that we have right now will never charge an officer, but that could change when we have somebody else. So I don't completely have no hope that my brother won't get justice. Justice for me, it doesn't exist because my brother is murdered and he's still running around. So even, if the cops did go to jail later, I still wouldn't consider that justice. I think that's what's right. That's like common sense and it should be given to us without us having to ask. So
absolutely. And I, we are humble. Our family is, we know that what we're about to experience is unprecedented in the state of Washington and maybe in the nation. And we are hoping that this will set precedents for all families and maybe reopen cases and start looking at corruption, and maybe other families' cases will follow. We don't know. We're hoping for that,
Yeah.
And that's great, because when I've seen so many cases, so some cases get a lot of attention, some get zero, some don't even have a family member to speak for them, so we don't even hear about them. And I think about those ones often too. But the case, I feel like the cases that are blown up, I absolutely think that's great that you guys are talking about the other families, the other victims, that this is going to be helping that further on, and instead of just okay, you got justice, because as we know now, after having set our family, like, just we knew about it before, but it's real deep and it's so widespread through the freaking country. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, like, I never really knew about Brian and Isaiah. Probably within the same month that the cop was arrested, Isaiah Obed, who was number 2, family settled their civil case. But Brian, I never knew about, and I got a text one day from his, I think it was his sister, saying, we've been following this case and we are asking permission. Can we come to court and stand and be in solidarity with the Sarey family? And I said, damn straight.
That's awesome.
Because they will never have, it isn't about our case, it's about the other families as well. But Jesse's case is helping heal a lot of families right now. I want to believe that.
And it's bringing light to the other families. That's why the other killings.
Yeah, it definitely. I was gonna say something. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It was before. I think I was gonna say something along the lines of like the families, the impact of the families. People, like, I'm one that will be like, FCP, I'm there. I've been there for a long time. Baby, I put it on shirts. I wear them around. I have my strong feelings about all of this, but and people look at us, my brother was murdered and it was covered up and they're still running around. So people often look at me like, oh, because she says fuck the police, you're bad or stupid shit like that. But
no.
I've met so many families that I like, dude, these families are like normal or regular, maybe not normal, but
I don't think we're normal.
We're like regular people, and I find that a lot of them are very caring, like people that showed up for you guys. A lot of people the families have been so much support to each other. So it's like, hey, we're not these horrible people you cop lovers are trying to make us seem like. We like really been impacted. So yeah.
I think we went over your hour.
I was just gonna say we're gonna go a little bit.
The show, you guys, is an hour long, and we're going on 6:43, man.
I think every show I've done, we're going a little longer, but yeah. Is there before we close, I do want to say, anybody watching or that watches later, there's a petition going, right? There's a petition going, so I'll share that within the comments of and if there's anything else you guys want to say before we close up.
Anyway.
I just want to say thank you for everyone's support and tuning in. It feels good to know a lot of people care, even if they didn't go through what we go through. There's a lot of people rooting us on, all these other families. And yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to the other group that helped pave the way and set the
Not this time, Andre Taylor.
I just saw it on the news. Their family just got a
Yep.
settlement for that. Salute to them. Not this time, Andre Taylor. I see you, man. And yeah, to everyone underneath the not this time, salute to them too. And because that whole group is built off of the same thing we're going through right now. If it wasn't for them to put it together, we wouldn't be where we're at right
Definitely
now.
wouldn't
They
be
got the
there.
law passed for this, and it sucks that it fell on my cousin, but let this case lead the way and shine light on everyone else that was just left in the dark.
And I also want to give a shout out to Families on the Front Line. That's the national group that I met Marissa from, and they also are bringing impacted families nationally together. So there's a lot of coalition building happening right here.
So yeah, no, big shout out to everyone, big supporters, everyone who's been supporting our family, supporting everything, this whole movement. Yeah, let's just let's get together and and put a spotlight on them as they do on us. Put a spotlight on them. You want to sit here and try to enforce the law on us? Well, what about you guys? You guys are under the same law too, and you guys bleed and breathe the same air we do, so you're not exempt from none of that stuff. So yeah, let's just keep the fight and continue to fight and fight strong. Now, however long it gotta go, just keep going, because they're not gonna stop. So it sucks because there's not gonna be the end of it. We're not gonna hear the end of this. There's gonna be other family that's gonna be impacted by this, and I hope not. But realistically, we're gonna hear about it again.
Yeah, I think next time I'll have the numbers, but I seen fatalencounters.com, they track the police killings. It was above 1,800, I think, for this year so far. I believe 1,800, and I'll probably post it later so that I can make sure I have the right number. But yeah, it was about there. Each year, the numbers are just rising. Since my brother was killed, I've just seen that drastic. And then, just meeting new families like you guys, this shouldn't have happened. So I want to thank you guys for being on. And we had some viewers throughout the whole thing. That's kind of why we kept going too. And, people were listening and engaging, wanting to hear more. So thanks to everybody who viewed, and thank you guys for sharing with us. I know really how, it's not always easy to, and yeah, so definitely connect with you guys on Facebook if you guys are on there, and you guys shared anything with me in the future, I'll share it on my spots, and yeah, reach out if you guys.
Yeah, definitely follow our case as it goes. And I also want to give a short shout out to Force Track Tori and Nisa for her giving me a chance to write an op-ed. That was the first time that I got to write from my perspective about Jesse. And so there's a lot of opportunities happening out there that is allowing us to have a voice. And really a shout out to you, Marissa. This is just like a wonderful platform. So thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, Nisa, I did one with her as well earlier in the year, and that, they were really helpful with that and helping make it, I feel, the best that it came out. So FTP, that's what that's their
yeah, no.
Okay, you guys, well, thank you so much. I will send you guys the link once it's up on YouTube for other people who may not be on Facebook. And if you guys ever need to reference it to somebody, if they want to know the story or kind of anything, the link is easy instead of explaining it over and over.
Yeah.
So,
so when I pushed that I was going to this event, that meant it's live. So like if I went and looked at the event, I would see the live and all the messaging then?
It'll be on the video, right on the Voices of Strength page.
Okay.
You'll see it. I'll tag you on it, so in case you don't, but it's also on my personal page as a shared. But yeah, it did it directly from the Voices of Strength page.
Okay, because I want to see who was watching from Washington.
Yeah, we had a lot of comments. That's the thing about doing it live. I can't always go back, but yeah, I always go back later, and there are always a bunch. So definitely go back and see what people are saying, you guys.
Stephen, Kelly, Kenysha, Mary, thank you for making it. I know that it's hard and last minute. I think I gave them 24-hour notice, you know. So,
No, it's good to have family on and, sharing the different perspectives. That's what people need to hear. This could obviously, happen to anybody's family. So everybody should be at least bothered, concerned, and eventually people will listen more. I know it.
Right.
All right, you guys have a good night. And
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.